Welcome to Module 2 of Legal Research for Everyone. Module 2 will teach you about the print legal resources, how they're organized, and how to use them. You might think that you don't care about using print materials and want to wait for the modules about Westlaw and Lexis. However, you should remember that Westlaw and Lexis were created by taking the print materials and putting them in the database. The resources are still organized the same way they are in print, and except for the ability to search by word and the interconnectedness provided by the computer, they're still the same resources online that they are in print. Learning how to use them in print will enhance your ability to use them online. Now let's get started with statutes. You already know that statutes come from the legislature, but how does the legislature do that? As you can see from this chart, the process of making federal legislation is not simple. Documents and records are created every step of the way, and it isn't an easy process to understand or follow. We refer to this stage of lawmaking as the statute's legislative history. We will not be covering how to research legislative history in this course. I hope we can offer a separate course to cover this later. Here you can see the four-step process in the publication of new statutory law. First is the mystical legislative history process. At the end of this process, after a bill has passed both chambers and been signed by the president or governor, it is published as a slip law. At the end of a legislative session, all the slip laws are gathered up and published as a set of books that is referred to as session laws. Then finally, these laws are published in codes. What are codes? Codes are a compilation of the statutory law of a jurisdiction. They are organized entirely or somewhat by topic, and they incorporate changes that have been made over time. The California codes are organized into 29 different named codes, such as the Family Code, the Penal Code, and the Labor Code. In California, there is no official print version of the code. However, you might think of the online version produced by the legislature as an official version. It's updated very quickly. I'll be showing you that in another module. There are two unofficial versions of the code published by two different publishers. The West Annotated California Codes is published by, you guessed it, West. It has a blue cover. The Deering's California Codes Annotated is now published by LexisNexis. It has a brown cover. We have both these versions in the Indio branch of the Law Library, and I suspect the main library does too. Here, I'll give you some sense of the size of the California codes. This is a picture of the entire set of West California Codes Annotated at the Indio Library. And this is a picture of the entire set of Deering's California Codes Annotated, also at the Indio Library. These are the individual codes that comprise the California Code. The Federal Code is not organized into named codes. Rather, it is one code organized into numbered titles. Each title is about a particular area of the law, such as labor or penal or agriculture. The official version of the Federal Code is called the United States Code and is pictured below on the left. The U.S. Code is republished in its entirety every 6 years when all the changes that have been made are incorporated into the Code. In between these republications, the Code is updated with an annual volume called the Annual Supplement. In between these annual supplements, you would update the U.S. Code by consulting the session laws and slip laws. The new editions and annual supplements are very slow to arrive in libraries. The center picture below is of the West version, and it is called the United States Code Annotated. Its physical volumes are the smallest of the three versions. It is updated with annual pocket part supplements and then by various other supplements, and then by a publication called the U.S. Code Congressional and Administrative News, also referred to as USCAN, which means that you have to go to a separate set of books to update it with session and slip laws. The picture on the right is of the Lexis version, the United States Code Service. Its physical volumes are larger than West's, but smaller than the official. It is updated by annual supplements that used to be pocket parts, but now seem to be small paper volumes sitting on the shelf next to each volume. It is further updated by quarterly supplements and something called the Cumulative Later Case and Statutory Service, which is basically session laws and slip laws. Here is a complete set of the U.S. Code. We do not have this at the Indio Library. I'm not sure about the main library. But this is a complete set of the code along with its indexes. This is a complete set of the U.S. Code Annotated along with its supplements and indexes. We do not have the U.S. Code Annotated in the Indio branch, but they do have it at the main library. And this is a picture of the U.S. Code Service in the Indio branch of the library, along with its supplements and indexes. Now this is a list of the current titles in the U.S. Code. There used to be only 50 titles, but in recent years they've begun a reorganizing process and some new titles have come out. So for example, Title 51, National and Commercial Space Programs, they must have gone through the rest of the code and pulled out all the law that involved national and commercial space programs and put it into the new Title 51. And this could be a signal that they're doing a complete cleanup of the code, which is well needed. Now, what does annotated mean? You probably noted the word annotated in some of the titles. All of these unofficial codes are annotated. To annotate means to add notes to give meaning and explanation to a text or image. An annotated code is one that has additional information and useful research assistance added by the publisher. You will almost always want to use annotated codes because they provide so much research help. We will talk more about annotations in the codes later. Our next video will be about the internal organization of these codes, and we will see what codified annotated statutes look like and how they're organized.